God has been so faithful to us as a church family. I remember back in early 2003 when the Jar was just a dream. Almost every church planting guru at the time told me a church couldn't grow or thrive in a community like Muncie that was struggling so much economically. But God had different plans, and we moved forward in faith. The first couple of years are what I call the introduction to the story of the Jar. During this time, we went from meeting in my house to meeting in multiple houses to eventually meeting upstairs at the YMCA. We met on Sunday evenings because we wanted to be different than all the other kind of churches, but we didn't grow very much. We were here meeting on Sunday evening with 20 people, but no one even knew we existed, and we weren't impacting our community for Christ that much. We couldn't stay here. We had to move forward. So we took almost all of our money and we took a big risk. We rented out a movie theater and gave free tickets to all of our friends who were far from God to a movie called The Passion of the Christ. 280 people came, and then we had a talkback session at the Children's Museum, and 100 people came to that, I think mainly for the pizza. And then the next Sunday, we went to having church in the morning. We met upstairs and 40 people came. And God was faithful, and we moved forward. And then on October 10th, 2004, we began what I called Chapter 1 of the Jar, and we went public, meeting in half of the Y Gym space. This chapter has been all about evangelism and loving our community into a relationship with Jesus Christ. We took great risk and we launched Saturday Serve Fest and showed that small things done with great love really could change our community. Then after a year, the curtain that divided the gym in half was lifted up, and we purchased more chairs, and God grew the church as we grew people. More and more people were baptized and lives were changed. You know, to be honest, I never thought we'd be a church of more than 200 people, but at year 5, we hit that mark. And it was at that time that the staff and leadership felt God calling us to dream bigger, and He provided the vision of Jar 2.0. At this point in time, we were meeting east to west in the gym, and while people had a place to sit, the distance from the stage to the back of the gym was so far that people were unable to feel connected, and we saw our growth stall as a church. So we took another risk. We stepped forward in faith and we went to 2 celebrations. This required double the number of volunteers and 2 celebrations for staff, but it allowed us to grow more and provide more opportunities for people. God has honored our risk, and as we have gone forward in faith, God has met us every step of the way. 2 years ago, we decided to step out in faith again and create a ministry center near downtown to house both staff and to provide ministry space for both those inside and outside the Jar. God provided an amazing space. Many people volunteered to help renovate the space, and we now have adequate space for multiple small groups and staff and other groups to meet. Plus, we were able to launch the first part of our vision of the Healing Center that would provide holistic healing for the body, mind, and spirit. In November of 2017, we opened the Community Basket, which has been able to provide for the needs of thousands of families in our community. And as we took that risk and stepped forward in faith, God provided. You know, over the past year, the elders and trustees and myself have spent countless hours asking God in prayer, are you calling us to another step of faith? And we've sensed Him saying, yes, it's time. It's time to step forward in faith to a new location, the Muncie Civic Theater. Over the past 4 years, the wonderful people at the Civic have raised $2.8 million, and they've totally renovated the auditorium and their entire building. Everything's new. And we are really excited about this new move and this partnership as we impact more lives for Christ. You know, I really believe that as we continue to go forward in faith, the best days are ahead for the Jar. So let's go forward together and keep reaching out to Muncie and Delaware County and all of East Central Indiana. And I know that as we do this, God will bless us and help us every step of the way.